Here with my monthly update for February 2017. Obviously February shorter month. Very busy with work and everything like that, but still managed to get a couple other things during the month. First one I have written down here is actually for my Atari Lynx. This is my original Lynx from back in the day, and it is a actual SD solution for the Atari Lynx from Retro HQ. I haven't actually put a ton of games on there yet, but I'll put a few games on there. And I got the one with a case because I didn't want a bare circuit board. If you get a bare circuit board, it'll actually work in a Lynx 1. Just slots in there nicely. I need to plug in my power supply, it's got no batteries in that. It comes up, boots up, comes up with a menu, you select an item and it loads the game. So it's a great way of playing your Lynx games without having to get the cartridges out. Plus, you never know, sometime in the distant future I might want to try some homebrew. Now, because I've got the case, it won't work in a Lynx 1. Now that is something else that I actually got one of those. That was actually during January, not during February. I forgot to hold it up last time. I actually found a Lynx 1. It actually works with batteries. Unfortunately, its power plug here is, I think this is a common fault with them. It pushes in, comes off the circuit board. So I need to order a spare one of those, but the screen's in really good condition. And in general, it's got a couple of sticky marks on there, but everything's there. So at some stage I'll fix that as well. So very happy to receive that SD card. And the next thing was actually a new Vita game. And it is Soldner, not Soldier, Final Prototype X2. It's a side-scrolling shooter. Don't have an easy way of doing capture from Vita, so I'm just going to hold the game up. You can go and have a look at the links. Now, I wouldn't put it the same as Darius Burst, which I've mentioned recently. It is not a bad side-scrolling shooter. It's good fun. It allows you to get into the game a bit and play it. It's a little repetitive, is all I would say, but it's still fun playing. I've still got it in my Vita, and I've still been playing it along with my other games. So, and it wasn't very expensive either. So, well, I was very happy to get that as well. Sorry for the slight cut there. I suddenly realised I didn't actually have one of the items I was going to talk about. Now this next item is actually from one of the guys I've met down here in Tassie, Gary, and he found this obviously in a lot of controllers and things like that, and it's actually a Sony MSX trackball, which I've never seen before. It's actually got quite a good, nice rolling feel, and your two MSX buttons. The trackball was actually broken, but he's repaired the rollers underneath there. Sorry Gary, I still haven't had a chance to actually try it out on a machine to make sure that it works, and it may pair nicely with that Sony MSX2 Plus I have. But a very interesting, unusual MSX item to add to the MSX collection, so very pleased to get that. Just need a bit more time so I can play with some of these things. And embarrassingly, the next item I haven't even had a chance to plug in as well. I haven't had it very long. I've been after one for a while, but I've had to wait until the guys made another batch, which they finally did. And it is an expansion for the MSX. It's V9990 Powergraph Revision 2, because it's the second lot. They made an original lot probably close to, it was about 8 or 9 years ago. And mainly there's only been demos and things like that released that use the power of this cartridge. Now what this cartridge is, it adds heaps of graphical capabilities to any MSX machine. So even an MSX1, it will soup up the graphics a lot. And there were So basically somebody decided to program a whole game that requires this cartridge, and the guys that put out this cartridge, Novabugs, decided to make a batch, of which they have sold all of them too, so you never know, there might be a third batch. So along the top of it you'll see it's got 3 video connections. So you've got composite, S-video and RGB. And the RGB one can do multiple signals out of it. It can actually output all 3 of those at once, so you can get 3 screens going. I'll pop up a picture there to show you an example. It has 512k of video RAM. It's an extraordinary amount of video RAM, and it's extremely fast RAM as well. You can display up to 32,768 simultaneous colours without being truncated as well. 64 palettes of a set, so you can have 64 different palettes of those set of colours, and the RGB levels can vary from 0 to 31. Sorry, I am reading from a list here. It has interlace mode, overscan, which is full screen, smooth scrolling vertically and horizontally, hardware commands, so nodes like blitter and type commands for moving stuff around, not just moving chunks and everything like that, so it's programmable in itself. Quick access, so there's no delay in transferring stuff from normal CPU RAM to the cartridge, because it uses the normal bus rather than a port. Lots of screens are going to go into detail because they're probably beyond most people, or unless they're particularly familiar with MSX. So we can vertically scroll up to 16 pages and 8 horizontal pages. So you can have all that set up in video RAM and just scroll around that huge play field. It has all sorts of resolutions going from 256 by 212 all the way up to 768 by 240, which is quite high. Number of sprites goes from 32 to 256, and you can have 16 on the scan line instead of 4. You could have 8 in a row on MSX2 and MSX2 Plus. The sprites are all 16 by 16 instead of 8 by 8, and every point can be a different colour out of a palette, I suppose. And there's tile modes and all sorts of different modes. And as I said, I'll see if I can flash up a couple of pictures, but I'll include a link down below to Novabugs' website. There's actually heaps of videos listed there and demos of what it can do. And as they list, most of those demos were done on an MSX1 computer, just to demonstrate that you don't need one of the other souped up MSX machines to do it. So there's a lot of graphic hardware in this. It comes with a CD with software on it, which obviously if you want to load on the MSX you need to have some sort of SD card solution. So I've been after one of those for a very long time, so very happy to have that. Now I just need some time so I can actually have a decent play with it. I've had no time on the weekends and things like that, so I've actually been lucky to get out the videos that I could this month. Alright, and I feel like I'm rushing when I'm doing this video as it is now. So I'd like to answer a question. I haven't answered a Friday Foursome from Novabugs for a while, and he's, mainly because he did take a break from publishing them. But he's back, and his question, which is in lieu of the release of the Nintendo Switch, which came out yesterday, and no, I didn't get one, can't really afford one at the moment, and it's your most anticipated gaming systems. So I am going to stick to consoles, otherwise if I crossed over into computers we'd be here for a while. I actually have 5 consoles arrayed around me. I'm going to basically put the runner-up, or the almost included, as the Atari Jaguar, because I mean, there was a lot of hype when it was coming out, and Aliens vs Predator was the killer game. But I only ended up having the machine for such a short period of time, but I was really fascinated with it because of its graphics capabilities and, you know, what it could bring to the party. But I only ever had it back in the day for a very short period of time, and it's only now, recently, as I've been slowly collecting Jaguar games, that I've come to appreciate some aspects of the system. Obviously some software for it was rushed out and not very well done back in the day. So that's my highly mentioned 5th place. And it's going to be very hard putting these in order, so probably we'll start with we'll just go from oldest to newest. So back in the day, one of my friends had an Atari 2600, my neighbours had an Intellivision, and I worked at a game store, and there was a new console coming out, and we sold heaps of these, mainly because of how good the games looked in comparison to the other systems that were out there. And that was, of course, the Coleco, and the killer game that came with it, which was Donkey Kong. Absolutely loved the Coleco back in the day, and how good the games were, and the fact that it had the same graphics chip as my beloved Spectre Video machines, which I had before the Coleco came out. Also, increased my interest in the machine. I didn't actually end up buying a console back in the day though. I actually bought the Coleco add-on for my original Spectre Video, and a few libraries of games. So I never actually had a Coleco system of my own until probably about 10 years ago, when I picked up the one over here. That other one I was holding up is my spare that I'm doing up at the moment. Yeah, so that was just one of the systems that was around that I got into at launch. So probably the next one would be, trying to do these in order properly, I've already held it up in this video, was the Atari Lynx. I thought that the graphics and the processing capabilities of the Atari Lynx was fantastic back in the day, and I always wanted one when it came out in its original form, which was only a short period in Australia, which is the Model 1s. I couldn't really afford one, but when they announced they're going to bring out a second model, and it was going to be much cheaper, that's when I got this one, and this is the physical one that I got. And I got Gauntlet and Robotron. I'm just trying to think of the other game. Oh, Checkered Flag. I really like Checkered Flag. It's a great little racing game. And it had great graphics, and I could carry around and play it. It used to eat batteries like crazy, but I've always had the power supply for it. Oh, and the other game I always had was Toki as well. They were really great, good, fun games. And so next in chronological order, so yes, I did have a Mega Drive and a Super Nintendo, but I suppose at the time when they came out I was busy doing other things, and I actually had them in my store, and I played on them, but I wasn't really excited when they came out and everything like that. I was too distracted with other things. It was only later on, when the next lot of systems came out, that I got back into gaming. And so probably one of the most highly anticipated systems, so this is why it's number 2, would be the Nintendo 64. And it was, I've got Mario Kart in there, but the game that we're anticipating were both Mario 64 and also Zelda. So basically I bought one of these, not on launch day because I couldn't afford one. I had to save up and get it a little later. But it's a system that I had, and I bought lots of games for back in the day. My wife also played most of these games as well, so it's got a lot of fond memories. And it was just the fact that you could get 3D graphics like that on a console. Of course, after that the PlayStation came out and changed the playing field, but I could never afford one of those. The PlayStations were actually quite expensive, as were the Saturns, and the 3DO as well. I did actually want to play especially the racing games that were all the rage in those systems, but I could never afford those when they first came out. And I didn't actually even get my first PlayStation 1 until just before the next system came out that I mostly anticipated, and this is the very first system that I pre-ordered, and we got it on launch day. And I pre-ordered it for one game, which was Star Wars Rogue It's Rogue Squadron, isn't it? And it's of course the GameCube. And basically, I bought every single Star Wars game that you could get for the GameCube, and the surprise game that actually came with it was Luigi's Mansion. And I think every single member of my family has actually played Luigi's Mansion all the way through. Even my little one in later times has actually played Luigi Mansion. So it's been a great system. So, and it's probably the one that matches most of the requirements of an anticipated system. So you wanted to get it in the lead up to getting it, and it's one of the only ones that I pre-ordered. So great questions from Novabug. You might also want to answer the same questions. Text down below, or you can make your own video. Go see Novabugs' video. I'll put a link down below for that as well. And he's also got a Facebook page where he puts the Friday Foursome. Alright, I've probably waffled along for enough this month. I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.